Okay, so for years, right, we've all heard the story. Blockchain is going to be the next internet, a total game changer for, well, everything finance, healthcare, you name it. It was supposed to bring us this future of perfect security, total transparency, but where is it? Let's dig in and figure this out.
I mean, seriously, if it's so revolutionary, why aren't we all using it every single day? That's the big question, isn't it? It's this huge paradox we're going to unpack. The massive gap between what blockchain promised and the kind of slow and messy reality we're actually living in.
All right, first things first. Let's just take a step back and remember why everyone got so hyped in the first place. Because the potential here, it's not just some abstract idea. It's about tackling some of the biggest, most expensive, and most damaging problems on the planet. Just look at this number, $4.2 trillion. That's not a typo. According to the International Chamber of Commerce, that's how much the global economy loses every year to fake and pirated stuff. It's an absolutely massive problem of trust, of knowing if something is real. And honestly, this is exactly the kind of mess that blockchain was designed to clean up.
And hey, we're not just talking about knockoff sneakers here. Think bigger. Imagine being 100% sure that the medicine you're taking is the real deal, or knowing without a doubt that the health data from your fitness tracker is totally secure and private. That's the core idea, right? This decentralized, unchangeable record. It could lock down everything from movie scripts to our most personal medical info. The possibilities are, well, they're huge.
Okay, so that brings us right back to the central mystery. If the uses are so obvious and so valuable, what's the holdup? What's stopping this from being everywhere already?
And this is where it gets really interesting, because we actually have an answer. After digging through like 167 different research papers, the number one roadblock, it isn't the tech. It's not about speed or complexity. Nope, it's regulation. Look at that. A whopping 56% of the problems come down to rules and laws. So let that sink in for a second. For all the chatter about scalability and transaction speeds, the real thing holding everything up, the main reason the future is still loading, it's the law. All right, so let's zoom in on this regulatory wall. What's the deal? Well, it basically comes down to this epic clash of ideas. It's a battle between the very soul of how blockchain is built and the way modern privacy laws, especially the big one over in Europe, are written. And right at the center of this fight is something called GDPR. You've probably heard of it. It's Europe's massive data privacy law. It's great for people because it gives us a ton of control over our personal data. But there's one specific right that gives blockchain developers a giant headache. It's called the right to be forgotten, or the right to erasure. And right here, this is the whole problem in a nutshell. It's literally the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. On one hand, you have blockchain's superpower, immutability. Once something's on the chain, it's there forever. You can't change it, you can't delete it, that's the whole point. But then GDPR comes along and says, nope, people have the right to have their personal data deleted completely. You see the issue? They're designed to be polar opposites. So is that it? Is it just impossible? Game over? Well, not so fast, because this is where the really smart people come in. The engineers are cooking up some incredibly clever ways to get around this, to build something that respects both the tech and the law. And that's really the key, right? As these researchers point out, it's not about choosing a side. The real goal is to design something new, a system that brings these two worlds together, something that gives you, the individual, real control over your data in a way that works with blockchain and also follows the rules. So, how do they do it? It's a really cool three-step solution. So step one, your actual personal data, let's stick with the idea of it being your diary, it never goes on the main blockchain. Instead, it gets encrypted and locked away in a separate digital safe. Step two, they use a private sidechain that's basically the sign-in sheet for the safe. It just keeps a record of who accessed the diary and when. And then step three, and this is the genius part, a public blockchain is used to keep a permanent, unchangeable record of the sign-in sheet. So you get this perfect, auditable trail that proves no one messed with the records, but your actual diary entries are never exposed to the public. Pretty clever, right? And look, this isn't just an idea on a whiteboard. People are building this stuff and putting it through its paces. I know this chart looks a little complicated, but what it's really showing is them stress testing the system. They're making sure it's not just secure and compliant, but also fast enough to actually be useful in the real world. They're proving that you don't have to choose between privacy and performance.
Okay, so we've got a technical fix. That's great. But what's the bigger picture? What's the game plan now for companies and for policymakers?
Well, here's the thing. You can't just code your way out of a legal problem. The technology can be brilliant, but it has to go hand in hand with smart policy. The code and the law, they have to move forward together.
So, what does that actually mean? Well, for one, it means creating things called regulatory sandboxes. Basically, safe spaces where companies can test out new blockchain ideas without breaking a bunch of rules. It also means thinking about privacy from day one, building it right into the system. And crucially, it means getting everybody, the creators, the lawyers, the users, to work together and agree on some ground rules. And look, there's no single magic bullet here. The strategy is different depending on who you are. If you're a government agency, maybe you start small, run a few safe pilot programs. If you're a tech company, you need to make GDPR compliance a must-have feature, not an afterthought. Big corporations, they can probably start using this stuff for their most important assets right now. But if you're a small business, it might be smarter to just wait and see until the rules become a little clearer. Everybody's got a different part to play in this. So all this leaves us with a really interesting final question. What's ultimately going to unlock blockchain's true potential? Will it be an innovation in the code or an innovation in the law? The truth is, the future of this technology isn't just a tech problem to solve. It's a human one. The real breakthrough probably won't be some flashy new algorithm. It'll be when the code and the law finally learn to work together. The future is definitely still loading, but at least now we have a much better idea of what we're all waiting for.